Hi, I'm Louanne Midgley from Tell Your Story Videos, and this is Shop Talk. Today I'm going to be speaking with Xanthe Berkeley. She is such a talented photographer, video creator, stop motion animation artist, and teacher. Xanthe, I'm so looking forward to speaking with you. So I found you through another Vancouver resident here, Michelle Malinga.
Oh yes, okay, yes, yeah,
right?
yeah. She's amazing.
So I was like, oh, she's from Richmond area. It's like whatever, an hour and a half away from me. And I saw her stuff is beautiful.
Yeah.
And she was doing a stop motion, and I'm like, oh wow, this is really good. And then she said something about your you and your course, right? And I'm like, huh. And so I clicked that. And that's how I found you. I'm like, oh my God.
Brilliant.
You blew my mind. I'm like, yay.
So I always say to people, be putting stuff out there because you never know who's looking, who's going to find you. Because we all go down those rabbit holes on the internet, don't you? You suddenly find yourself looking at something. And so, yeah, it's good to just keep putting stuff out there and hopefully the right people find me. It's always so lovely. So
yeah, exactly. So I immediately looked at all your courses. I'm like, what do I take? And and I never considered stop motion animation, but I said, oh my gosh, that's something I would love to learn how, since you're teaching it. So
yeah,
so I took that, and it is interesting way of telling a story. That is for sure.
Yeah, well, I think it's so fun and different, and I think particularly in this current climate where we've got all of this kind of content coming at us, that it kind of makes you stop and think. It's a bit different from video. You're making objects that are normally stationary move, and so that kind of surprises people, and it can be quite quirky and fun, and I think that people get entertained by it and they're kind of surprised by it. And it is time consuming and involves patience, but it's relatively easy to do, with very basic equipment. And that's what I always try and tell people, because people get kind of real blocks about video, like you need all this equipment and you need all this, experience and expertise. And actually you don't now. Maybe 20 years ago you did, but you don't now, because you have this phone which has all this, amazing technology in the palm of your hand. And yes, stop motion is super easy to do on the phone. And then obviously if you want to refine it and get better at it, you can use other equipment. But I think it's a super fun medium. I love it.
It is. And I agree. Like, you do need to have patience with it, and just look at all the little movements and the fine movements. I mean, your stuff blows me away because it is there's a lot of objects in there that you're moving around. And so, to kind of keep it all straight. And I did one yesterday, and I didn't realize that my light wasn't plugged in all the way, because when I finished it, all my light was going in and out, and I'm like, what is going on here? And so this morning when I using the light right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, it wasn't fully plugged in. That's why it was giving me
so it's fluctuating just slightly.
Yeah, because I couldn't figure it out. But anyway, what I did is I turned it into a black and white, and I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste it.
Thing. It's like, people are always like, what lighting am I? Need it to be this and I need it to be that. I'm like, just play with it. And the imperfections, if you jog your camera, yes, it's going to move the animation, but you know what? That's how you learn and how you get better at it. And, you won't make that mistake again, and actually I give everybody all of the key things they need to do it right. But everybody always leaves a tripod leg in the first time, or they have their wire hanging down, or they jog the camera, or the lighting changes. But they do it once and then they don't do it again. And that's how we learn. And things don't have to be perfect. I think there's, we get caught up in it needing to be this super slick thing, and actually have fun with it and enjoy the process of it. And you will get better at it the more you do it. And yeah.
So where did all this start for you? It was, I'm sure, a long time ago, your creative journey started. How far back does it go?
Well, I went to art college, in my late teens, early 20s, and I did a lot of photography there and made little videos, little Super 8 videos. But I never kind of thought that it was going to be a job, because it just seemed like you would just be a photographer, or you would go into the film business, I guess, and become a cinematographer or a videographer or that kind of thing. And at art college, I got really into documenting my life, photographing. I used to keep these scrapbooks where I would write in them and take Polaroids and make little videos with my friends. You know, we'd go on a weekend trip and we'd shoot Super 8, and then I'd go and edit it with my friend my dad had a Apple Mac at his office, and I would go and edit it together there on that first sort of basic video editing programs. I think it was even before iMovie came out. I can't even remember what it was, but it was basic, and it would crash all the time. You put this edit together and it would crash, and it was difficult. It was hard. And fell into the love of that. And then obviously life happened, and I had children, and I was a stay-at-home mum, just like yourself. But documenting the boys and them growing up, and really into doing that again, keeping scrapbooks of us going on day trips and things like that. But not so much video back then when they were little, just because the video cameras were like those big ones that you had on your shoulder. So it wasn't until I got my first sort of digital video camera, I think it was sort of late 90s, early noughties, that again I got into videoing, and again just documenting my life. I just had this sort of obsession with needing to create these memories to have to look back on. And then sort of fast forward, I guess, a few years, and the internet came along, and that kind of changed everything. And I started sharing my photos online via Flickr, and again, just, you know, getting in, wanting to make more video, but not having the sort of equipment. But as slowly, you know, the DSLR video came out, and suddenly you could shoot really beautiful quality video on a camera, and phones obviously got better at video, and iMovie came out, and that was a game changer in terms of being able to edit your video rather than having these sort of long chunks of video. It kind of evolved from there. And, you know, then Instagram came along and started sharing stuff on there. And again, they brought out the capability of sharing video, and I jumped straight on that because I just thought, this is the future. I knew that it was going to be a big thing, even if no one else was kind of catching up with it and believing it too. And just documenting my life, creating little videos of my weekends or going on trips and things like that. And people would ask me, you know, how are you doing that? How are you editing it? What are you using? How are you shooting it? And it was before kind of YouTube was this sort of university of ideas where you can literally learn anything. Like, there just wasn't, YouTube was just, back when I was first thinking about teaching online, it was just sort of sharing, you know, epic fails and, you know, clips from TV. There weren't sort of tutorials and stuff. So I created an online course showing people how to use iMovie, you know, breaking it down for them and giving them ideas of what to shoot and create videos that I was creating of my family, so people could do the same. And that's kind of a long 10-minute ramble. But hopefully it kind of puts it all together. That it's just been this sort of organic journey where every stepping stone has led to another, but has had that sort of same theme of documenting through photos, through videos, and then sharing that with people. I love to create it for myself, and I want people to be doing it themselves. So that's why I love to teach people, to show them how to do it, show them how doable it is, that you don't have to be scared by this medium. And as I said, back then it was much harder, whereas it is much easier now that you can shoot and edit all on your phone. It's incredible. And I love it. It's really nice to have this sort of mad job that definitely when I was at art college, it wouldn't have existed. And who would have thought, crazy.
Right. With time and technology and the capabilities now that we have, like you said. So are you self-taught in that this is all coming from you and your mind and how you see things?
Yes, yeah. So I taught myself iMovie, back when it first was out. It was pretty basic. But yeah, just teaching yourself and learning as you're doing. That's why I always encourage people to get creating, because you learn so much through the process. And yeah, there weren't online tutorials. There weren't the myriad of online courses that there are now. So there wouldn't have been, the opportunity for me to learn from somebody else. So I taught myself how to, shoot video, practicing, getting it wrong. Back then the DSLR video, it was all manual focus. You had to do it that way, manual settings all the way. It was all a real sort of trial and error to get things to work. And as I said, things are much easier now. But I have all that sort of knowledge that has helped me to, get to where I am now. So I don't make the same mistakes that I did back then. And you get quicker at the process the more you do these things. So, but yeah, self-taught. And then I guess you pick up things along the way from people you spend time with, or if there are so many tutorials on iMovie and Final Cut and whatever. So if I am stuck, there's always someone to teach me. But yeah, I feel like I'm pretty good that I don't tend to need to pick up that type of knowledge. But yeah, I think you're always learning and always absorbing and, getting inspired by other people. So yeah, and the internet has so many resources. It's incredible.
It is incredible. And you have a particular look and feel, and it's very unique. And I haven't seen anyone else look like you. So that's why I was wondering, like, have you been taught by someone else? But it doesn't look like it because it looks so from you and Xanthe.
I guess it's what I'm drawn to, isn't it? And you just kind of, I'm very much, I kind of try not, yes, there's inspiration everywhere, and that's what you need to take in, and you're taking it all in. But I try and do things in my own unique way, whether it's a conscious or a subconscious thing. And I know what I like, and I also know what I don't like. And so I just go with that. And maybe there is, there's definite themes and ways I shoot things. And sometimes I'm like, come on, shoot it differently, and try and challenge myself. And, but you just slip back into, you've got your style, haven't you, and the way you like to do things. So.
Well, I think it works particularly well for you in your business and how you present yourself, especially on Instagram, right? Because it's very cohesive in your brand. Basically, it looks polished. But I know from having taken your course and meeting you and seeing all of your work that it just comes deep within you from a deep passion of wanting to show and tell and you're an artist through and through, Xanthe.
Thank you. That's lovely.
It's quite apparent to me anyway. And I believe most of your students realize that too pretty quickly.
It's totally me. It's like there's no kind of trying to be something else or trying to, even when I sort of made a conscious decision that what I could create on Instagram could be used commercially, it still had to be something that I wanted to make. Like I am a big believer in, shoot what you want to shoot more of. Like there's no point. Like in my early days of being a photographer, just needing any work, I would go and shoot portraits of people in offices for their websites, corporate portraits. And it just wasn't for me, and it felt inauthentic to be doing that work. And so then you realize actually that's not what I want to do. So I want to shoot more of this. So I'm going to do my own projects, even if I haven't got paid work. I'm a big believer in, if you're not getting the work that you want to be doing, do it anyway. So if your passion is to be making family videos for people, then make it of your family until somebody says they're going to pay you for it. Or if you want to make food styling videos, then do your own ones until you can work with a brand who'll pay you to do it. So, I'm a big believer in that, and put out what you want to shoot more of. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it's hard to do stuff when you're not into it, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I love that about you, because, me just starting out with my business and later in life, I'm looking for, mentors and examples of people, especially women. I love it. And who are trailblazing, and I see that those personal projects, I'm like, gosh, I need to do that more. I need to get out and I need to film more, and do what I love to do. And like you say, like that will attract people to you. If they like your work, then it'll come. And so I love that method. Instead of chasing down clients and trying to do the whole business thing, it's more coming from a spirit of artistic, passion. And then, the right people will come to you and want to work with you.
Yeah. I can pretty much say every personal project that I have done has led in some way, either directly or indirectly, to some paid work, because clients will come and say, we love what you did with those flowers going into that basket. Can you do it for us with our handbags? Or can you do it for us with these shoes? And so it is always worth creating stuff just for you, with a vision of maybe it leading to something else.
When you teach, Xanthe, I was so surprised at the level of support that you give to your students, and your live Q&A. I love it, because you have a whole other Instagram account for your courses, right? And so that we can participate, we can put the hashtag on our videos, and then you can showcase them there as well. And then you have all kinds of different tips and tricks, and your blog is fantastic. I went into your website and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's such a treasure trove of information in here. You give.
Yeah, I try, because, not everyone can take my classes, and I understand that. And, I don't believe, what I share in my courses, you can go and find out for free elsewhere. Like there's no big secret to making a video. You go and shoot it, you go and edit it, and you put it together. I'm showing you how I do it, and with my special sauce, and with the ways and the tips and the tricks that I do. But I also know that the information is out there elsewhere, and I'm very open about that. And I also know that not everyone can take the classes, so I try and give as much as I can for free, and so that people can get started. And then if you want to learn a bit more, or you want to take one of my classes, a lot of people like to take my classes because they just need a bit of inspiration, and they need some more ideas of what to create. people get a bit stuck. They know how to shoot and edit a video, but they just want some inspiration. So I try and offer that as well. There's lots of stuff. The Instagram account I started because I used to have a Facebook group, and I don't do Facebook anymore. And Instagram was where people were sharing their videos anyway, so it kind of made sense. And it used to be a private account just for people on my courses. And then I thought, what? There's so much information here. Let's just make it open to anyone who wants to follow along. And it's not a massive, account. It's nice and small. And, my live Q&As aren't, hugely attended, but I'm there if people have questions and they want to ask anything. And it's much easier to do it there rather than on my main account, where you don't know who's going to be dropping in. I know that people on that account want to come and talk about creating videos, so that's why I've got that there.
No, I love it. I love the live Q&As and your commitment to your students, and it's brilliant. And I've asked you lots of questions. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm dominating the thread here.
No, it's fine. And actually, you know what? There's no silly question. Like people think, oh no, I can't. And I'd much rather someone said, look, I don't know how to move this clip in the timeline, than sit there suffering, because I know it's frustrating. Like, yes, the technology is there and it's brilliant, but it also can be mind-boggling and frustrating, because how you want it to work and it's not doing it for you. And so I can easily say, you just need to do this. No problem. And it's fine. And usually somebody's asked me that question already. That's why I do my I do a frequently asked questions on my blog, because the questions that I get asked on the daily. So it's like, it's much easier to be able to send someone a link to a blog post than have to answer it each time. So they're there as well.
Well, I love seeing whenever you post anything, I'm like, oh, it's Xanthe. She's got a new video out. It's just like, I watch everything you do. You're kind of, on my favorites list. But
perfect.
Yeah, you are. What's next for you, Xanthe? I mean, you've got so much going on. You're also a lifestyle and portrait photographer. I've seen your work as well. Just gorgeous things you're doing. And I mean, you must be so busy now with everything.
Well, COVID had a big impact on my business. I have my teaching side of my business, and then I have the photography side, and then also creating videos for brands and things like that. And that went very quiet. And clients that I'd worked with for years, teams changed, people got made redundant. So I have lost quite a lot of work that way. So this year is really about trying to build that part of my business back up again. So people are always like, oh, you must be so busy. And I'm like, not always. But I'm always busy doing something, even if it's not necessarily for my business. And so, I need to build that side up again, get some more clients, try and create some more content, keep busy doing that, which I love doing. And I'd like to just carry on the way it is. I'm no kind of like I don't want these big dreams. Actually, if I can have a good life creating in a way that isn't overwhelming, there have definitely been years of my business where I have said yes to too many things because they're so fun, but it is exhausting and you do burn out, and that is not a fun thing to go through. So it is about getting a balance, which obviously is impossible as a woman, but you can strive to it.
We can try.
You can try. So this year is all about trying to build and recover from COVID, which has had a big impact for sure. I'd like to carry on teaching. I love teaching. Again, that kind of ebbs and flows. That was really brilliant for me during lockdown, because people were at home and they had nothing to do, so they were like, right, I'm going to take a course with Xanthe. So it was great. Whereas obviously things have slightly shifted as the world opens up, and also there are way more online courses now than there ever were, and so there is a kind of more of a competition in that sense of you've got to be competing with everybody. So I'd like to carry on doing that because I love doing it. And I love the variety that my week offers, like some days I'm sat at my computer emailing students and getting prepped for teaching things, and other times I'm out shooting or I'm at home shooting different content or photographing people. I still love to do that. People are always like, do you still take photos? And I'm like, yes, I do. And actually they're easy, like in terms of making a video, they're like, it's much easier to go and shoot some photos and quickly edit them in Lightroom and it's done. It's like the easy bit. So I'm like, yes, please let me do photos. I hope to recover from the impact that COVID's had over the next year or so, and just continue to build on that and enjoy what I'm doing. That's the aim.
Wonderful.
There's no point being a creative if you're suffering. There's just no point, is there?
Lovely. Oh, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure, Xanthe. I'm so happy that you took some time out of your day to meet with me and to chat. And as I said before, I gush. Actually, you're my mentor, and I really loved being able to interview my mentor. It's pretty special.
Really, really brilliant, and I'm always honoured and happy to chat. So thank you.
Thank you so much. You take care.
Yeah. Be well.